children are not just born into families, they are born into reputations. A mother's choices, a father's absence, the whispers, the looks, the judgments, and then suddenly you grow up carrying shame that never belonged to you. You see, some of us are carrying shame that never belonged to us. Your mother's mistakes, your father's absence, your family's reputation, and now you live your whole life trying to prove, I am not like them. Come on, people, listen to me today. You cannot redeem your parents' story by destroying yourself. Oh no, not at all, fellas. You don't have to stay in a toxic relationship just to look stable. You don't have to overachieve, to erase their failures. No. You don't have to keep bleeding to heal their wounds. No, my dear. Your parents' story is not your identity. You can honor them and still release their shadow from your life. So people, say this with me today. I am not my mother's shame. I am not my father's absence. I am the healing my bloodline prayed for. So, my dear, shame may be inherited, but healing is chosen. Okay? So, if you are joining me for the first time, this is Overcomers Connect with AB and Beck. And today, we are talking about inherited shame and healing from the weight of a parent's past. You see, many of us are living our lives trying to prove, I am not my mother. I am not my father. Now, let me paint a picture to contextualize what we are talking about today. For example, a young woman grows up watching her mother raise 5 children from 4 different fathers. No stability, no marriage, the community whispers, the men laugh, the church judges. So the daughter, seeing all this, grows up vowing she will never be like her mother. She will marry and stay married, no matter what, even if the man in question insults her, cheats on her, hits her, humiliates her. She stays with him regardless of the abuse, just to prove that point. Because living means being labeled the same as her mother. So she stays. And for her, that label feels worse than pain. That, my friend, is inherited shame. The silent prison where you punish yourself for someone else's story. And in therapy, we call this intergenerational shame. Emotional pain passed down, not through DNA, but through silence, judgments, and societal stigma. Excuse me. When a parent is ridiculed, rejected, or morally condemned, the child often grows up trying to correct that story. They become perfectionists, overachievers, people pleasers, or have to choose, or just not having a choice in relationships. All this to prove they are worthy of the love their parents never received. But here's the hard truth, fellows. You cannot redeem your parents' reputation by destroying yourself. No. It is not your obligation or responsibility to do that, okay? Healing begins when you stop performing for a world that already decided who your family was, who your family is. And then you start defining who you are as a person. Okay? In many of our communities, especially African and diaspora families, reputation is currency. A man's worth is tied to his status. And children grow up carrying the emotional depth of their parents, aka their failures. But what we call morality is often just fear dressed as tradition, and archaic traditions for that matter. Okay? We shame what we don't understand. We judge where we should heal. And we forget that a parent's mistake do not define a child's destiny. No, it does not. It's time this stops. Okay? So let's talk about how to break this circle. Okay? Because you cannot heal inherited shame with silence. You heal it with awareness and compassion. So step 1, you have to name the inheritance. Okay? Ask yourself, what part of my parents' story am I still trying to correct or hide? Is it their poverty, their addiction, their failed marriage, their absence, or the kind of livelihood they had? Write it down. Call it out by name. Remember, shame loses power when it's seen clearly. Okay? Number 2, separate the story from yourself. Okay? Why trying to break yourself out of that shame? You need to separate the story of that shame from yourself. Because their story is theirs. Your parents' stories are theirs and not yours. The life they lived was what they deemed fit at that time. It was what was beneficial for them, or what they had. Their choices are theirs. Always remember that. Just because they are your parents does not mean they are free from making mistakes. They are humans too. So that is not your business, but their mistake to carry. Okay? You can learn from those mistakes. Don't get me wrong. You can also learn from those mistakes without carrying them. Okay? Fellows, so say this with me today. I honor my parents' journey, but I release the weight of their story from my identity. Okay? So hear me, fellows. Maybe you never saw a stable marriage in your family. Maybe you never saw a healthy father figure while growing up. And yes, you grieve that. Yes, you cry for it. But know this today. Healing requires mourning the love you didn't get so you can stop chasing it in the wrong places. Okay? Legacy isn't what they left you, but it's what you decide to build for yourself. You can create a new reputation rooted in truth, wholeness, and with boundaries. And now to the parents hearing me today. I want to speak to you gently but clearly. Your children are watching. When you don't heal, they carry your pain. When you live in guilt, they grow up in fear. You cannot change the past, but you can rewrite the inheritance you are leaving behind. Apologize to your children. Tell your truth. Let your children know you are human and therefore you can make mistakes. You are not perfect. So they don't grow up trying to be super humans. Okay? And then to the children listening today, it's time to stop paying emotional debt that was never yours to pay. You can love your parents and still refuse to carry their shame. Oh yes, it is time to stop performing for redemption and start living in freedom. Till I see you all again, fellas, be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Stay strong and stay free.